What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the PG Sports Podcast. I'm back after a little hiatus of 2 days. I was doing too much, so I had to take the day off. But I got 3 in a row. Today, our special guest is Tykera Carter. She went to the same college as me. She's a sports journalist, and we're going to chop it up about all that stuff, transitioning, from D1 athlete to the real world, what she's doing now, the pandemic, all that good stuff.
Hey,
What's up? How's it going?
how are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm great. Just here in the house.
Am I good on your end? Is it clear?
I can hear you. Yep, you're clear.
All right,
Clear
cool.
as day.
Cool. Yeah. So, what have you been up to? During the pandemic.
So I've been teaching myself how to make graphics on Photoshop. So that's been something that's cool. Hey, Sacred Heart Women's Basketball. I've also been I made a series called Checking In. So hey Aja. So just trying to keep up with that series and reach out to people and talk to people. I'm getting my resume revamped. So doing some productive stuff that not everybody thinks of or is on at the moment. So those have been my things. How am I still continuing to elevate my network and then holding myself accountable for something? So by starting Checking In, it's been a way for me to reach out to people, to practice interviewing people and just being, all around productive as a sports journalist.
Yeah, definitely. Do people actually ask for your resumes now, or just your reel, or both?
Well, when I was applying for jobs and news, they asked for my resume. Yeah. And I feel as though my resume was okay, but then over time, you get people to check out your resume, and I was getting advice from people hey, I think you should add XYZ. So I paid a lovely lady by the name of Lauren. She used to hoop at GW, and she does career resume services to kind of revamp it and redo it for me.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the the ones that go through bots, and then they see the words on it, and then sometimes your thing could just get deleted even though you're a good candidate.
Right. So with news jobs, what I would do when I apply is I'll apply for the job, and then I would go hunting for the news director's email address, and then I would send my stuff directly to them. So it's to each his own after that one. Either he reads it or he doesn't. But I did my part to make sure I'm not limited to a computer or whatever.
Yeah.
Or a bot. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and definitely. I know you're on LinkedIn too, so I know that's huge now.
Yeah. And the thing is, when I made LinkedIn, I didn't take it seriously at all until I went to the Winning Edge, which is Maria Taylor's her nonprofit giving back career thing. So I went to a career summit, and they spoke about how important LinkedIn is, and how you should have a header picture, how you should have your job title and stuff like that, and different ways to use LinkedIn. So ever since I went to that career summit last summer in where was it? In California. Ever since I went there, I've been pretty golden as far as, making sure I'm at least active on LinkedIn. They're don't just add random people because they want to add you. It's not about how many friends you have on LinkedIn. It's really about the network part. So I started taking it more seriously.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting sick of the spam people.
Yeah, I get spam messages too, and it's kind of funny, but I'm hey,
yeah, sometimes I just play with them when they're trying to get me on a phone call or something, and just say oh yeah, tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, so I've had that happen to me. Somebody was the Redskins are looking for something. I'm no, they're not. People don't know. You can just go and Google them. So I'll go and I'll Google them. Hey, Dad, that's my dad who sent the thumbs up. But you can just Google people's names and stuff like that now. So I'm is this a real person?
Yeah, I literally 2 weeks ago, I literally read a message to my friend. He was like, "Oh, I literally just got the same exact message. They're literally just copying and pasting too." That's why it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, so you gotta be careful on LinkedIn a little bit too.
Yeah,
but
that's why it's
cool.
annoying too. Yeah, that's why it's annoying, because like it was supposed to be, for professional networking, and now,
Mm-hmm.
the spammers and scammers are getting on.
Yeah, I get random messages all the time on there, and like random people trying to add me. It'll be like I usually try to see like, do we have mutual friends, or like
Yeah.
who in their network? Like maybe I don't have them on LinkedIn, but like I would know. So
Yeah.
like if not, I'm like, clamps. I
Yeah.
don't know you.
Or
I
they,
mean,
or they,
and I understand the point is to get to know
yeah,
people, but it's just like, yeah, we have no type of
yeah,
association. Like I'm not trying to get the like technology and stuff like that. Like random people be adding me. So yeah.
yeah, and they do it by schools too, because then I notice, like, even I know they didn't go to Sacred Heart, but they have like a bunch of like, people from Sacred Heart, and then it says like, so it's funny, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just weird. But yeah, actually, it's funny you said that about LinkedIn, because when I started at Sacred Heart 2010,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm dating myself now, but I remember I had a computer intro class, and the guy made us make LinkedIn, and we were like, and it was just like nothing then, and then so I mean, it was pretty crazy that he
That's
did that.
funny. Like the evolution of things. It's kind of
Yeah.
like with all social networks. You know what I mean? Like Facebook, right, used to be like our thing, and then we migrated to like Instagram, and now all our aunties, and well, I don't know about you, but I know from my family, like my grandma is on Facebook, my aunt, my cousins, and I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah,
okay,
everyone's on
so
Facebook.
Facebook is like the family friendly site. Not saying
Mm-hmm.
that Instagram can't be, but I feel like Instagram is for more of us
Yeah,
millennials.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, actually, I just saw like Gino Oriema created the Instagram yesterday maybe, or 2 days ago, and he in
That's
his first
funny.
his first video was just like, yeah, like, don't watch my lives, this is dumb, like I never thought I was gonna be on this app, but this is dumb, like he was just like clowning himself, and then like it's funny, because like, yeah, people are like doing stuff now that they want to do because they're inside, obviously.
Yeah, the pandemic must have got to Gino. He must have been like, let me see what this is all about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so going into your Sacred Heart career, what made you pick Sacred Heart anyways?
Well, I'm gonna give y'all the real. I first of all, when I went to Sacred Heart and I took my visit for like, Division One basketball, I had never heard of it. So I was just like,
Me either,
okay,
and I'm from
cool.
Connecticut.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it, but I was a late signer, so I signed in May of my senior year, and by that time, people are already signed, sealed, delivered, and gone. But I was late on that aspect. I wasn't testing well on my SATs and my ACTs, like, so I had other schools who were interested in me, but I wasn't doing well on my testing, like, whatsoever. I hate standardized tests, hence why,
Mm.
sports journalist, broadcaster, whatever. So I wasn't doing well. I went to a tournament. So I played unsigned senior with my high school, Riverdale Baptist, and I went to a tournament, and Sacred Heart was there. And my former coach, Coach Jessica Minetti, she had coached at Hofstra. And so when I was younger, I used to go to Hofstra's basketball camps all the time. And she had knew me from, back when I used to go to their camps and stuff like that. And when she heard that I was still available and I wasn't signed, she came over and watched me play. And maybe like a week later, like, they was trying to get me to come up to Sacred Heart. So I went, loved it, had a good experience, good time, hung out with like the team a bit. And then, I committed and took that free scholarship. And it ultimately turned out to be like, if I had to do it all over again, I would go to Sacred Heart.
So there wasn't any like other schools you were picking from?
So the other schools that were interesting me at the time was Hampton University, so HBCU, and Furman University, which is, what conference is Furman in? I think they're in
I
like the
can't tell
Big
you.
South. Yeah, so it was. But Sacred Heart, you didn't have to have like a standardized test score to get in there.
Yeah, that's how I got into.
You only needed your ACT, not your SAT. So it was like, it was great. The way everything worked out, it was cool. When I went on my visit, I was like really nervous because I was just like, I never heard of this school before. And a lot of people still say that to me, but I feel like Sacred Heart is doing such a great job of like being established now, like putting the diner on campus and, the new Bobby V facilities. Everything is just like, wow, that's amazing. Like, it's crazy how much the school has expanded from like the time that I went there and all our classes was in one building to then the communications building being built, and now they have what is it called, like West Campus. I didn't even experience that. I know it's there, but and then you said you went there in 2010, so y'all really, y'all was studying.
I was there I graduated 2014, so you were a freshman?
Yeah, so I was a freshman. Yeah so all we had was 63s and we had limits.
Yes. I don't know what 63s is.
You don't know what 63s is? Flick. Oh, I'm sorry. We got another name for it, but I can't say it on my live.
Yeah, you can't say it. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Well, yeah, I think the Linda McMahon building was their senior or junior year, and then the end of junior year. I think that was the newer building. I think that was it after I left. But I mean, I went there for grad school and the communication building opened, so I was in there for like a minute.
Yeah, the communications building is great. That was like top tier. That was an upgrade right there. I think, when did I start? So my sophomore year is when the communications building goes tell me not to say it. I'm not gonna say the other name for Flick. I'm gonna leave that to myself. But yeah. Sacred Heart is doing a really good job of building. Like, I can't imagine what it's going to look like. Even, I could say 10 years from now, but really even in the next 5 years, I have no idea. Like, they're going to get more and more people. They're going to get top tier recruits because the campus is awesome. Like, they're just expanding.
Well, do you think they're going to get more recruits?
I believe so. Yes, I do. I feel like, first of all, they're in a great location. If you can't go to UConn, you're not up there, you're not Gino's level, cool. Mm-hmm. But Sacred Heart, you hop on a train, you're in New York City in an hour. You're in an awesome location. If you want to be like a sports broadcaster or something, ESPN in Bristol. Like, there's amazing things that surround Sacred Heart that maybe everyone doesn't get to experience because, they're in school, they're not worried about it and stuff like that. But I think just the campus kind of draws you in because it's not big. It's not too big where it overwhelms you. But the things that they're doing are so beautiful where it's making it seem like this could be like a little home. Like, when I went up there for my best friend's birthday, I was like, this looks like a scene off a Harry Potter movie. Like, the new dorms that they're building, like, that are across from the Pitt Center. I'm like, dang, I'm like looking around like, where am I? You know what I mean? So I think they'll start getting more and more recruits. This is just a guess. Don't know if it'll be true or not. They'll probably graduate from the NEC conference and move on up. But, like, I could see them playing in the MAC or something like that. The MAC with 2 A's, not the 1 A. So yeah.
What's up with all the men's players transferring though?
I think, and this is just my opinion, as far as men's basketball goes, when you have a greater goal, I feel as though a lot of them think, I can't do it here at this specific school, so I'm going to move on. And I feel like, that's their mindset. We see, like, kind of back in the day, like a player like Scottie Pippen went NAIA and boom, he's in the league. So I think it's about approach. But I also think in the generation that we're in, if you don't have like a big name off the bat, or if people don't know your school, you're kind of already counted out. So that's why I feel like a lot of them leave and go different places because they feel as though, I can't necessarily make it from here. So I don't think it's anything against like the school, because like I said, Sacred Heart's a great school, full scholarships, all that other stuff. But when they think about, if my goal is to play in the league, I might not be the one who can do it from here. Yeah.
I think they're kind of mistaken, because like, if they do get in the, the scoring ranks, then they're going to get attention. And obviously we've seen a few players from smaller schools like Damian Lillard, and CJ
Yeah,
McCollum.
yeah. And like I said, it's really a mindset
Yeah.
thing. Like, I think they're capable. Like this year, the men's basketball team, they had a really good season, and 2 people departed, but
I think like 4
EJ
people did.
departed. Yeah. Well, they graduated some seniors, and then what I know of is that they have 2 transfers, but EJ graduated early, and so he's using like his 5th year to play elsewhere. And I think, if you can do that without having to sit out, and he's going to like one of his dream schools, that's a smart thing to do. Like I'm here for it. But I really did think they had a great season, and it's cool to see how they continue to build their program and grow as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so going back to your career, what was your overall experience like at Sacred Heart on and off the court?
It was cool. Like I said, when I first went there, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, I'm in Connecticut, a place that I barely ever heard of. Just like, I'm here. But once you go there and you get embedded into like a team and a sisterhood, like you have the experience of a lifetime. You're with your teammates more than half the day. You guys love each other. You guys get sick of each other. But you pretty much go all out and just make the best of your experience. And I think we definitely did that. And that's why like I was able to, see like New York City and stuff like that, because we were that close or whatever. So I feel as though career wise, like it still stings me a little bit that like I left and never won a ring. We played in the championship game my sophomore year against Robert Morris, and we lost. So if there's anything that I like wish we could go back and do it again, is to like win a ring.
Yeah, would they win in 2013, 14? 2012?
Not 14,
13?
because I wasn't there. I don't think it was 13. I think it was
Maybe it was 12.
2012. Or like Coach Swanson had like left. So I think like the transitioning period when my head coach had came in, I don't think we've had a championship since. So we did well. Like we played in the NIT, I believe, twice. I played in a championship in my career. So 2 NITs, a championship game. Like, some people will never ever do that. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's what I actually would have really just wanted, was a ring.
What's up, Anthony?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The banners are cool. We got some banners, but regular season championships, but not the whole thing.
Yeah, I think I went to I think it was when they won I think it was like the semifinals game. It was like I think it was the most people at the time to go to a basketball game. So that was cool. It was the women's game.
Semifinals, I think we played against Mount St. Mary's in like this, or maybe that was the quarterfinals, my sophomore year. I don't really remember. I remember we beat up on somebody like really bad the game before we went to the championship game my sophomore year. And in my sophomore year, like I had never ever seen the Pitt Center with that many people. Like it was crazy. Like it was people standing, sitting. And when you're playing in a game, you're so locked in. Like it wasn't until we was about to lose, like I kind of looked around and was like, dang, we have fans up in here today. Like people really came out to watch us play in this championship game. So that's where it kind of like hurt the most, that like we had all that support and all those people there, and I never seen like our gym that packed, and it was just like yeah.
I don't know. Fun fact, I don't know if you know that CJ McCollum actually played at Sacred Heart, like versus him.
No, I did not know.
I was mad.
Were we Division I then?
Yeah, it was before you were there. I just remember because it was like during the spring break and I missed it and I was mad. It was him. He played versus.
He went to Lehigh.
So they played Lehigh. And then so it's like him versus Shane Gibson because them two were in the top like 10 of scoring that year.
Okay. Yes, that is a fun fact.
Yeah. AB, you went to that game? Was he there? I don't know. He might have been there. Yeah. So going into after school, what was the transition like to go into the real world and going to the sports business side?
It's hard, and it still is hard. It's hard work, but I don't. I would say limit myself or I'm not trying to like think about it as, you know, a sprint, like it's a marathon. So I just continue to let me put content out and, you know, get better. It's not more so about me like landing like this big job, posting on social media, hey, you know, we up and stuff like that. It's more so like, what are ways that I'm continuing to make myself better? So when I do get that job opportunity, I am prepared and I'm ready, and it's something that I can keep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you know, a burden on me to be like, you know, working this hard. And it's like, I enjoy it. Like, I enjoy like the creative aspects of things. I enjoy like learning new things through sports journalists, understanding the importance of networking and reaching out to people and stuff like that. So those are things that I feel like I learned more so as a postgraduate that I didn't learn while I was in school, or maybe somebody was trying to tell me and I didn't take it seriously enough because I was, you know, trying to focus on being that student athlete, which was a basketball player and getting good grades, and not really even thinking about like post career or anything like that. So yeah, pretty much it's been cool. It's hard. It's not easy at all, but I think it's fun learning new things about myself, learning how creative that I can be and the limits that I can kind of take myself to.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to do? Not like your dream job, but like what do you want to do? Like, what's your dream job, and then what do you want to do like in between those jobs to get that job?
So dream job is kind of weird because like I like the aspect of like where I get to kind of get real with like players or athletes, and I want to be like that, kind of like that Taylor Rooks where she kind of connects with the athletes and she's also a woman, and I feel as though when I watch her, like people feel comfortable around her. So I kind of want to be like that host
Mm-hmm.
and kind of have my own thing, but I also want to be a sideline reporter as well for NCAA basketball. Specifically, when I was coming up, I would always be like, I want to be a sideline reporter for CBS Sports Network, which is still very true. College basketball specifically, because I love college basketball. Absolutely love it.
So are like women's and men's, or just women's?
No, both. Both sides. Like, I'm crazy about college basketball because to me, I feel like I can relate to it a little bit more. Like, of course, I love the NBA and I love the WNBA, but I really enjoy like watching the players like give it their all for their universities. I like the storylines that come along with college basketball. Like, you know, you didn't know this person grew up living, you know, in this place XYZ, and they play basketball, because I really enjoy like the building of the storylines, keeping up with the rankings every week and stuff like that. Being like, ooh, like you kind of lost, that's crazy, you know. So that's what I enjoy the most.
Who do you think would have won on both sides this year if there was a March Madness?
The women, I believe Oregon would have won. And then for the men, I don't know. It was really tough. Like, that's why I was so excited to watch March Madness this year, because the parity was, like, real. I'm like, we got Dayton, like, you know, in the top 10. I believe, who else? It was, like, San Diego State, like, schools who are just not typically ranked high. And then teams who normally have good seasons weren't having the best seasons, like my poor Tar Heels. So for the men, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure at all.
Yeah. I mean, I think it could have been anybody, to be honest. Like, it could have been like probably 10 different teams.
Yes, exactly. So I can't really call it, but I was big on Oregon.
I think I think the South Carolina women were like trying to campaign that they're like champions, like on Twitter.
Yeah, it's so funny because I was seeing like these Instagram fights and stuff like that where people was like, well, if we would have had the tournament, you already know. And I'm like, what do you mean? Or like, I don't like how the ACC gave Florida State men's basketball the tourney championship. Like, the championship didn't happen. So how are they champs? Because they had a better record. Like, we all know that upsets happen all the time in those tournaments. So the ACC just went ahead and crowned Florida State men's basketball team as champions. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, that was crazy too. Like the Big East championship game, or like the tournament was going on, like still during this, and then they like canceled it during
I was watching that. I was like, what is going on? They like sent it up to the booth like during halftime, and it was like, that felt like a movie, like breaking news. Game is over, pretty much. I was like, okay. So that was like my last basketball that I watched when that happened.
Yeah, and it's just weird too because it was like at MSG. Like, why did they even have the game?
Yeah, and then you know, it was supposed to be like limited fans and stuff like that, and the fans were it was limited, but I felt like it was still a little bit like too many people in the building, if we were being quite frank. So I was like, I mean, one way or another, I felt like that game was going to be over.
Yeah. Definitely strange. Someone asked a question. How has Kobe inspired you, and who else has inspired you?
Oh, wow. So I was huge Kobe Bryant fan, like huge. My dad pretty much made me grow up a Lakers fan, which is cool, proud of it. And he would always tell me, like, have Mamba mentality, like, before this is even a thing. Or, like, we loved his commercial where he was, like, Kobe system. Like, we would always go around and say that. So he inspired me just as work ethic part. Like, no, I was nowhere close to being as good as Kobe Bryant. And that's okay. But, like, you can have inspiration from a person's work ethic, although, like, you're not them. And, you know, there's not going to be too many people, I think, to walk this earth to have the work ethic like this man. But I feel like he was just an inspiration as far as being a guy, you know, for the culture, being able to watch him and being the MJ of my generation. Like, watching The Last Dance has been cool because I've been getting to learn more about Michael Jordan. Of course, you know who he is, and I think the tip of the surface of the things that he's done as far as me being a 24-year-old woman. But I got to actually experience like Kobe and watch his rings and watch him evolve. So that's why I was such a fan and inspired by him and his work ethic. It was just almost like, how do you not like this man or love like what he does for the game of basketball and his competitive nature and who he is?
Yeah. What about who else inspired you?
Who else inspired? So I was growing up, or I still am, big Candice Parker fan. Like, loved watching her play when she was at Tennessee. She's just a dog. Like, the facial expressions she makes and everything that she does. I was big on Candice Parker. Her competitive nature. I feel like you tell her that she can't do something and she's going to do it, and she'll probably do it 10 times better than you told her that she couldn't do it. So that's what I loved about Candice Parker and her game. Of course, I like to go Diana Taurasi. She's another one who, when I worked for the New York Liberty, for their game night staff, watching her play in person is like crazy. And like where we got to sit, like during the games, hearing her talk to these women crazy was like phenomenal. I'm like, dang, she go a little too hard. She make you not even want to play basketball and kind of want to fight a little bit.
That's funny. What about why'd you wear number 2 at Cigar?
I wore number 2 because number 3 was taken, if we're being quite honest. I wore number 3 my whole, pretty much high school and middle school. And then when I got there, Adasia, she had number 3, and I was like, you know, it's cool. It's time for a change anyway. So I went with number 2, and I loved it.
All right, so then why'd you wear 3?
I wore 3. Why did I wear 3? Candice Parker wore number 3.
Yeah.
I just messed with the number 3 so hard. Like, I was like, you know what? I'm TC3. They're like CP3, Candice Parker 3. I'm TC3.
All right, there you go. Oh yeah, wait. What was your like favorite basketball memory at SHU?
At SHU?
Or you got another one? That seemed like you had some at the beginning, like of all basketball, your whole career.
My whole career. So I had a game in high school where I scored 42 points, and
All right.
but after like it was like 5 seconds left in the game, maybe a girl broke my nose, and so it was like bittersweet. It was like, dang, like I really just did that, and it's like I don't even remember like how it kind of all happened. Like I feel like games where you kind of have like an outer body experience and you just lighten it up, like you kind of reflect on it, like, dang, like what was I doing where I really scored 42 points? Like, so that was cool. And then it was like I might have could have had 45. It was like time was running down. I was just throwing up some stuff anyway. And the girl, she tried to block my shot and she missed and she hit my nose and she broke my nose. So I had 42 points in an all-night visit to the hospital. So that was like one of my most like games that I kind of remember. But like I said, when you like sitting there, you dropping buckets, I don't remember like how it all happened. I just remember like I was pulling up from like the volleyball line, just like it was funny, but it was crazy too because I was like, dang, that went in. I had on my threes that game too. I used to hoop in my cement threes. And then at shoe, I think a game that just comes to mind was we played St. Francis Brooklyn at home, and I like played like streaky minutes throughout my career, truthfully. And so it was, what was it, my sophomore year? It was maybe my sophomore or my junior year. I don't remember which one. And I hit a game winner for us to win over St. Francis Brooklyn at home. And it was funny because I came off the bench and I might have played like 16 minutes, if that. So I had like 14 points and a game winner and 2 free throws at the end to ice the game.
There you go.
So that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, okay. I lifted us to a victory.
Have you ever hit a buzzer beater?
You said what?
A buzzer beater? I know you said you had a game winner.
So the 3 that I hit, I think it took us to no. The 3, what did the 3 do? I hit it was like a big time 3. But it wasn't a buzzer beater. It was, I think it just put us up. It was like the last shot of the game type feel. But it wasn't a buzzer beater because after that, they had a chance to score again. And then I had gotten like a deflection or something, got the ball, and then I got fouled. And then I hit the 2 free throws to close out the game.
Gotcha. Sacred Heart Women's Basketball said you should have played her one-on-one for number 3.
Should I have? Yeah. Yeah. They should have got that work for the number 3. Before I came there, I should have, we should have had a discussion. But it's cool. I love number 2. Like, it was different for me, and it was cool. Like, it was my number, so I was like, whatever. I was cool with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they wanted that work, she could have got that work for number 3.
Yeah, what about like who's been your favorite interview person that you interviewed so far, and who's your let's say like top 3 dream interviews?
So my favorite person that I've gotten to interview so far is Natasha Cloud. She was very lively. Like, I like a person where you interview them and you don't have to like work hard to get the questions out of them. You know what I mean? Like, they want to speak to you. They enjoy it. They're going to speak their mind. I love that about her. Like, she's not afraid to speak her mind and talk. And then she would like play around a lot. Or it was like one time at the games, I was like doing a stand up and she like came behind me like dancing in the background and like everybody's laughing. I'm looking, I'm like, this girl. So she's really cool and down to earth. If I had to choose top 3 people to interview, LeBron James, I would love to talk to LeBron and pick his brain. Allen Iverson, I'm a big AI fan, so
That's how I thought you were 3. That's what I was thinking.
I mean, part of the reason, like, I feel like a lot of GOATs have worn number 3. Like, Allen Iverson is my screensaver right now. I mess with AI hard. Like,
All right.
Bubba Chuck, that's my man. I don't know him, but that's my man's. So I said LeBron. I would want to interview AI, and then a third person. That's so hard. I think I would go off the spectrum as far as someone like Serena Williams
All right.
and like her evolution and speak to her. That would be a really cool person to speak with and interview.
Yeah, actually, I was talking to somebody last week, and we were talking about how, like, let's say, like, wealthy women don't invest in women's sports, even though they might be an advocate, but they're not investing their money in it. So how do you think that
Right.
like, they could change that, or, like, people could change that in general?
So I think it's true. I know you know Ariel Chambers, and she put out a tweet yesterday, and she was like, we say that women's sports is not getting the coverage, but when we try to cover them, like, they turn you down if you're not a big person or, you know, a big name. And I think, okay, so that's the first part of it. How can we get them to talk to people more like you, more like I, and just spread the wealth of who they are? I think that would be, for starters. I think second, for women in sports, it has to be a buy-in. Like you said, it's an investment, and if it's not in high demand, then nobody's going to go after it. So who is going to be that person to, like, buy in, that big time name, like, a women's sports, I'm investing in you, let's get it going, let's, you know, make people watch this, let's make people be about this. And so it's just kind of like anything. If it's not in high demand, nobody's really on it. But as soon as, like, the right person gets their hands on women's sports and making sure it gets the proper coverage, making sure it's on the ESPNs at a prime time and not at like 10:30 at night, I think it'll be a big change and a big wave in the way people view women's sports. You know, everything is like a wave. Like, if I'm not on this wave right now, it's always going to be that one person who gets on the wave, and then everybody is going to want to hop on the bandwagon.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know if you know, like, Serena and Venus actually own, like, a small percentage of the Dolphins. So, like, that small percentage could have probably, like,
been another, like
bought, like, probably
that.
bought a WNBA team.
And I think people also think in terms of, like, longevity. Like, I feel like people would do away with the WNBA if possible, but they would never ever get rid of the NBA. So, or the NFL, so to speak. So Serena and Venus, let me invest in the Dolphins because, you know, what's going to happen with them? What's going to happen with my investment and my money? And I think it's so-called the smarter move to make. You know what I mean? Because it's
but they can
more
make
secure.
Mistakes. They got money. They can make mistakes.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. I totally agree with that. I don't think people think that way, though. They're thinking, like, if the WNBA were to end tomorrow, you know, where would I want my money? In the NFL?
Yeah, well, I mean, the other thing I would say is, like, I want to see, like, a NBA player. They say they're supported, but if they actually, like, bought a team, that would be cool.
They support on, like, social media and stuff, which I believe no one takes it for granted at all. Like, seeing, like, LeBron tweet about the WNBA, or seeing, like, these big time names speak about them. But I think people support it on the surface, but they don't necessarily invest in it, like what you're talking about. Like, yeah, we're gonna say stuff about it on social media, but how do we put money into this thing? And I think a big start of that, or a big move, was when MSG sold the ownership for the New York Liberty, and now they'll be playing at Barclays Center and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, that's a big move. And their owner for
Nets.
The Brooklyn Nets, he bought the whole Liberty. Like, that's a smart investment. And then boom, they'll be playing at the same arena and stuff like that. The women and men will be able to, you know, speak to each other, might be able to work out with each other. I think that's a great change in situation for the New York Liberty. And it's not to say they didn't have that with the MSG company, but I think his buy-in was great.
Yeah, and I think I think things are going to change too, just with new CBA, and now the athletes getting paid. So it'll be interesting with, like, the top women's basketball players, like, them getting endorsements while in college.
Yeah, I think that's a great move. I like the new CBA a lot, and the CBA was really eye-opening as to the treatment that these women were getting, like
Yeah.
some of these women are like 30 plus sharing a hotel room with another person, and like if you want your own room, like you got to pay to have your own room and your own privacy.
Yeah.
And then flying, you know, like basic econ, like you're a professional team, but I gotta, you know, get in where I fit in on the plane, can't fly comfortably to these places and to our games. I think that's absurd.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I didn't even know one of the guys that I know that plays in the MLS, like soccer, he was telling me, I didn't know they flew like regular to like economy, and I was like, that's crazy, like, because some of the European guys come over here, so I was like, they're flying economy, and he's like, yeah, they were flying economy with us, like, and I was like, what? Like, these dudes are like even like worldwide celebrities, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, it's
Like,
wild out here, man.
yeah, so yeah, I think the sponsorships and all that is going to be great, because I even saw when the new CBA came out on the WNBA pages, they to be an agent, like that thing was gone, because like so many people are trying to do it now because they're making more
Yeah,
money. So like you said, like when the money comes, and then people are coming. So
that's what it's all about. Money talks.
yeah,
Money
great.
talks. Money makes the world go around. In sports, it's unfortunate that it's that way, because when you invest in, like, you watch the WNBA and like you really follow it, you're like, these women are like that. Like sometimes I'm like, I would much rather watch a WNBA game than an NBA game, just to appreciate the fundamentals, to appreciate like how hard they work every single game, because their season is significantly shorter. And like they really put it all on the floor every night. There's not a WNBA game that I went to where I felt as though like I was thoroughly like bored. I don't know where people get that misconception from. Like they play some great basketball, they talk trash to each other like no other. Like it's kind of a little brutal and mean. Like it's funny watching the WNBA, because you're just like, how do people like not like this?
Yeah, and there's not. I didn't. I mean, I don't think I've really seen that many blowouts either. But they're always like kind of
No, the
close.
games are pretty tight
Yeah.
for the most part. Like the talent, and I think, you know, the talent is there, and it's always so great, because another thing, you kind of always, for the most part, kind of know who's going to get drafted. Where in the NBA, you get like those sleepers or those people that creep up. I feel like for the most part, for the WNBA, like when you watch someone in college basketball, you can pretty much be like, oh yeah, she's going to the league.
Yeah.
No problems, and she'll probably do numbers.
Yeah, I don't know if the guy, I forgot. I think his name's Joe that bought the. I forgot his last
Yeah,
name.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but
Yeah,
his
but
first
I
name is
wonder. I forgot if he bought them before they knew they were getting the #1 pick, or like the Liberty, or it was
he
after.
did.
But
So he bought them like last year.
before,
Like
yeah.
yeah, he bought them.
So he
So
hit the
this is
jackpot.
like their transition period right now. But it was like reports around like 2018, 2019 that like he was eyeing them, and then he
Yeah.
bought them for like an undisclosed amount. So people think like he got them for relatively a low price, which is, I mean, hey, cool, you're moving to Brooklyn or whatever, so we'll see how that works out and if that helps their fans.
Yeah, I mean and I'm saying he hit the jackpot because then he got Sabrina this year. So like
Yeah,
everything.
I'm pretty sure he bought them before that happened.
Yeah.
So, you know, being from the area, watching the Washington Mystics, I'm like, cool, like we got Tina Charles. And then I thought about it and I'm like, I kind of would have loved to see Sabrina and Tina Charles on the, you know, same squad.
Yeah. So I guess they're in rebuilding mode, you say, because they got a lot of rookies.
Rebuilding, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, actually, that's funny too, because I wanted to mention when you said about Tasha Cloud, and I interviewed her on my podcast, and it was funny because she said something, and I was like, oh yeah, so you went back to the DMV, and she was like, oh, you knew what that, and she was like impressed that I knew that. So like, shout out to my.
Impressed that you knew what the DMV is.
Yeah, go. I'm from Connecticut, so I mean, but I learned it from people from SHU that were from there, so like Moses.
Right. Yeah, the DMV is where it's at. We got some nice stuff coming. I'm excited actually because there's a documentary coming out. I know you've probably seen like the HBO commercials about it, about like PG County in the
Mhm.
basketball
Yeah.
community, and Kevin Durant is going to be in it, or he might have produced it. Whatever the case
Oh
may
yeah.
be, Kevin Durant. I saw Quinn Cook on the commercials and stuff like that. So it's gonna be lit. People gonna see like why the DMV is considered a part of. They call it the basketball mecca.
I don't know if I just saw. Is Wale doing something with them too?
I think I saw
Yeah.
that on the
Yeah.
commercial, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but it drops like May 15th, so that's coming. That's like next week.
Actually, I just saw last night too that ESPN's like dropping moving up three more documentaries because of like The Last Dance.
Lord knows we need it. I've been enjoying The Last Dance. It's like I can't wait till Sunday comes so I can, tune in and watch The Last Dance.
Yeah, what do you think of it like so far?
I love it. I've really enjoyed watching it, and like I said, learning about Jordan, like, a little bit more deeper, because growing up, like I said, Jordan fan, as far as like, I know he got the dope shoes. I know he was like the greatest player in the world. I can watch the highlights and, all those other things, but learning like the inside scoop about it is amazing. So I've really enjoyed it. I like the soundtrack. Like, they got good music on it. It's like a whole vibe. And then I think the part where they're just being authentic about things, like nothing's like fabricated. If you ask me, like, I didn't live back then, but from what I hear on the documentary, like, I feel like Jordan is keeping it 100, and like, who doesn't like that?
Yeah, and I like that ESPN is like letting them swear and not
Yeah, like, I
buzzing
like
it
it.
out.
Like, I
I'm
was
like,
like,
all right.
dang, Jordan be cussing up a storm.
Yeah. What about what was I gonna say? He I totally forgot what I was gonna say. But oh yeah, wait, because he tweeted he didn't tweet, but an article came out that he said like people aren't gonna like him after it. But like I haven't seen anything yet. So I don't so
Yeah,
now I'm thinking
I feel
I'm
like
thinking he did it to get in our heads.
to make people like,
Yeah.
tune
Or
in.
be
Yeah.
prepared for like
Yeah.
now we're like, oh, it's not that bad. Like he did it on purpose. He's sick.
I mean, to me, it's not like, I kind of expected, like, when people said things like Jordan would get mad or he like punch somebody in practice or something like that. Like, I mean, hey, to be the greatest in the world, you might do something like that. I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
I feel like seeing like his personality, or like his jokes about like Jerry Krause or something. I don't know if he felt like people weren't gonna like that. Like, he was really going on this man, but I mean, the whole team didn't like him, so who cares?
Yeah.
Um,
What's your best advice to an inspiring journalist? That's actually
yeah.
I was a substitute teacher and I had him.
Oh, hey. My best advice is really to just work hard. Like, stop at nothing. I believe nothing is going to be given to you. You really do have to work for everything that it is that you want. I feel like another part of my best advice: get a mentor or somebody who is in the same field and who will kind of help guide you and want to see you do well, and a person who you can talk to about things, someone you can speak to about job opportunities and stuff like that, and really just network. But I think it's just about working hard. Don't worry, about when you first start, about like the likes, the follows, none of that stuff. Just do you, and the cards will fall where they may if you're faithful to what you believe and you just work hard.
How do you get a mentor? Do you actually like ask them?
So my mentor, so another part of networking, her name is Monica McNutt, and so I saw her when I was younger playing AAU, so just keeping the network going. And I was on Instagram one day and I was like, oh, she's like a sports journalist like now, like that's what I want to do. And I remember when I was in school, in high school, she had came to one of my AAU practices and she was making, I guess, a feature story for her master's degree at the University of Maryland. And so this is me graduating now. I had graduated college and I saw her on Instagram and I was like, I'm gonna just hit her up and see if she remembers me. And so it's funny because she was like, because she's so down to earth. She's like, girl, I don't really remember you, but hit my phone. Like, it was like that. And, you know, like, since then, like, we always, like, communicate and talk. She'll be like, hey, don't know if you seen this job posting, but XYZ. Or she'll just hit me up to see how I'm doing. If, like, I did a gig and I didn't get paid for it, she like, did you talk to them? Like, she's like that. So she's, like, very on me, but she's honest. She'll tell it how it is. So I think a mentor is kind of networking, but it's also about timing. Like, did you put yourself in the position to that person? You might meet them when you're at a game or something like that. I feel like it's going to be different situations for different people, but a lot has to do with I believe being willing to like talk to that person and reaching out. And then once I did hit her up, she was like, oh my God, your number was in my phone already. So it's kind of like fate. She was supposed to be mine.
I gotcha. Yeah, because I always hear people, but I don't think I ever had a mentor in my. I don't think so. But I don't know. That's why I always hear people say it. So I'm curious to how that happens.
Maybe you're the mentor.
Oh my God.
I think so. People talk to you all the time. They be like, "What's up?" Blah blah blah. So.
Oh yeah, but so then, but that doesn't. But all right, I guess. But that doesn't.
I mean, my thing is, it's different strokes for different folks. I feel like that's just what worked out for me.
Yeah.
And something that like I actually enjoy, like having someone to like hit me up and like kind of hold me accountable about things, and just seeing how I'm doing. It makes things better. Or if I have a question, I know she already been through the waters and stuff like that, so she can do her best to answer it for me. Or if not, like she can reach out to her network and find the answers. So like it's all a big, I guess, circle, community, whatever you want to call it.
I gotcha. All right, so I asked you a lot of questions. Do you got any questions for me?
Yeah, so the background of like PG Sports, where do you want to take this thing?
So I always want to be.
Do you want it to be like strictly like social media driven, or like how far do you want to take PG Sports?
So I mean, my main goal was to be a sports agent, baseball agent at the time, but I think I'm gonna try to become an NBA agent.
Okay, cool. So on the NBA side of things, so I didn't know. I thought since you were like doing interviewing and stuff, like you wanted to be in front of the camera too. But sports agency is like your thing that you're like working towards. So, what did you study at Sacred Heart to kind of put yourself in that position, or were you not thinking about that when you were at Sacred Heart quite yet?
Yeah, I graduated sports management, marketing, and then masters in communication, media.
Oh, well, hey, you got it then. You're going to be a sports agent.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, I just do, I don't know. I just started the podcast because I got like a network of people, and then I just was like, it's kind of, everyone's doing it. And and I do a lot of sports marketing stuff now. So I already work with athletes, help them with, branding and sponsorships and social media and all that.
So you want to have like your own sports agency? Do you want to be like, what's LeBron's agent?
Rich Paul.
Rich Paul. You want to be like the Rich Paul of this thing?
Sure. Yeah.
You're like, whatever.
Well, I don't want to be. No, because I don't want to be Rich Paul. I don't want to be like a big agency. Like I want like 5 people.
Okay, so you want it to be like intimate. That's cool. That's no problem at all. More for you.
Yeah. Well, like I don't want it to be like something like I don't want to be a mega. Like even when I was doing a lot of clothing stuff, everyone's like, "Oh, you want to be like Nike or Adidas?" I'm like, "No, like I want to be like underground, like a streetwear type of like publicity stuff."
I mess with that though. And it's like, I like that a lot. And it's something that like, I want to support more. It's like people who aren't like the Nikes and stuff like that. Cause when people see you rocking something and it's like nice, it's like, hey, what's that? I'm like, that's that. Or like when I did, wore a hoodie for like my friend the other day. I'm like, oh, that's that Aja Dub. Like, they're like, who is that? That one is nice though. I like it. You know what I mean?
I don't even try to wear any kind of like brands anymore. I wear like just either people I know or like local brands or whatever.
Smart.
Even like I remember I talked to one of your teammates. She had a brand. I forgot. What's her name?
Tiana. She probably was it when she was doing sauce?
Yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah,
she,
I still have my Sauce hoodie. It's like sitting right over there. I wear it all the time. It's
yeah, because
comfortable.
we had actually, I think my old professor linked me up with her because it was a marketing guy.
Honestly, I feel like the underground people, they got the quality clothing anyway.
Well, yeah, that's so funny. Well, it's because people don't realize that, like, you know, all the big companies are buying in bulk, and they're actually spending like $1 on the T-shirts to buy them.
Yeah.
Hey man,
Yeah, I really be feeling
Don't I know,
the
who is that?
underground
Is
clothes
that?
and stuff like.
I think I know you. Don't I? Didn't we do something before? I think I don't know. I don't know who that is. I think I do. I don't know.
Well, hey to everybody who's here.
I'm just looking. Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on, and
Thank
yeah,
you.
we'll be talking, and yeah, I think that's it.
That's cool. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed learning a little bit about my sports agent friend here. And yeah, we'll keep in touch always.
All right, have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye.